Record on computer. Should tell us when we're on.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just gonna hit this. Hey everybody, John Howard here with my pal Billy Smith, and we're sitting in the cheap seat. We're from the cheap seat today. Usually we are. That means we know we can't afford those expensive club box seats because we're regular guys like you are, or at least we think we are. And I know I'm a cheap bastard, so I can't afford it. I'm not necessarily cheap. I'm just not as rich as some of these people that afford those big ass seats, Bill. You know what I mean?
I hear you, brother.
Turn around, look at a girl and go, "Oh, bring me some wings and beer." No. I got to get up off my fat ass, prep it early, and put it on the thing in front of me so that I got my wings and whatever I'm drinking right in front of me to watch the games. But you know what? I like it better that way. I don't worry about no parking. I don't have to worry about no bullshit. So welcome, everybody. We're sitting in the cheap seats, and I'm with my pal Billy Smith. We're going to go over week 2 results briefly, not all of them, the numbers, and a couple of significant events, we think. And then we'll go into our picks for this week. Coming up, Billy boy, you had a pretty good week against the spread. Not great, but not bad. You were 9-7. The way things were going last week, I don't know if Vegas did any better, buddy. I think you were right in the ballpark, which gets you at 16-16 for the season against the spread. So you wouldn't have lost any money. That's good already. So you gained from where we were. And let me see. That puts you for the season right at 50%, 16-16. So that's pretty good. Me, on the other hand, not so good. I was 6-8. That dropped me down a game, actually, record-wise and percentage-wise. So I am 14-18, and it only actually brought me up a little bit. I'm only 37.5. Oh no, I apologize. I'm looking at the wrong number. I'm 43.8%. So it did bring me up about 6 percentage points. One thing I will say on my behalf is, remember, I started slow last year, and we both beat Vegas.
Yeah, that you did.
So, and I think, Bill, that's part of because of the method I use. I use less numbers and watch the eye test, and it usually takes 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, for the eye test to get a feel of what team is doing what, how do they actually look, and then I can jump in and do it. Which is the advantage you have because of numbers. But what cracked me up, I don't know if you noticed, people were talking about after week 1. So far they're the number 1 defense in the league. They didn't give up the last amount of yards. Well, they played once. I mean, I don't want to say in sports we can overanalyze the heck out of everything, but holy moly, that was just ridiculous. Highest completion rate, the best offense. You can't say they're the best. They played 1 week.
Yeah, as they say, that's why they play the game.
That's why they play the games. But not the game. It's plural, you weasels. Calm down. But sports people need stuff to talk about, I guess, and hence the reason we're here too. So, but we try to make sense of it all.
And that's hard to come by too.
And that's hard to come by too. But some people like to throw.
Because some of these coaches are just horrendous play callers.
I cannot understand. I mean, Denver kind of did it again. They didn't make the glaring mistake, like the field goal try, instead of letting Russell Wilson try to make a play. I'm mixed on that. He's got the best field goal kicker, one of the best, not the best. I think Justin Tucker in Baltimore is hands down the best. But you got one of the top 2 or 3 kickers, and he had the distance on that kick. It's just he pulled it wide. If he makes the kick, you might have a couple questions, but not a big deal. You won the game.
Right.
He missed the kick. Everybody's hammering this guy. But he did admit, first he stuck with it, but then at the Tuesday press conference they usually have, Hackett admitted to coach that it was a mistake and he should have went for it with Russell Wilson. But you think about it, 4th and 5, even for Russ. 5's kind of tough on 4th down. So I
Yeah,
could maybe see, I could see where the thinking could be, I got just as good a shot with this kicker as I would maybe getting 4th and 5. Because if I don't make 4th and 5, the game's over.
right, right.
So I
And
don't want to
and
hammer him
a
for
lot of times too, they even ask the kicker, "Do you think you got this?" You know, I
right. They
mean, is
do.
it,
They
you got
say,
this?
can you get this? And they get a feel for it in pregame warmup. How's the
Yeah,
wind going? How's my distance here? And most kickers aren't going to BS because they don't want to miss the big kick either.
right, right,
They're going to go, I don't know, coach, the wind's tough to play.
right.
And you don't go for it. So, couple of the outstanding things from last week that we did have. Let's see. Chiefs took Thursday night, took care of the Chargers. It took them until really the fourth quarter to seal the deal. Justin Herbert was banged up. He officially has a broken rib cartilage,
Mhm.
fractured rib cartilage, but they have not said he's out yet. They haven't said he's in yet, but really haven't heard anything since
Yeah,
Monday,
yeah.
Sunday.
If I had to assume, he is playing,
I
but
was going to say, if
I'll just
without
wear a
news
flap
on that
jacket.
front, that would be big NFL news if he was out again. So I think he's going to play. They're probably going to throw a flak jacket on him. He's a tough guy. So it
Mhm.
wouldn't surprise me if I think he will play. Actually, it would surprise me if he doesn't. Uh, Giants, the last second field goal in Carolina. Your team, oh, Andy, losing again to
Phew,
Jacksonville.
shut out. Ugh.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you a question. I mean, they went out, they got Matt Ryan, and I've heard a few things this week. Do you think the issue is Matt Ryan?
It's still too early to tell. I think, preseason wise, you're not even playing half a game, let alone a full game.
Yeah. A lot of times it's
And
two or
they, and
three
they,
series and you're out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they were playing without their best receiver, not making excuses, but
Right.
because it affects the running game. If you don't have the passing game, you're not going to get the running game.
That's true. That's true.
So,
And you got one of the best running backs, which will tell
yes,
you got to be able to have a mix, and you got to be able to be effective with that mix with both parts
yeah.
of it. I mean, they could run. Jonathan Taylor didn't have a bad game because he
I
broke off
think
a
he only
couple.
carried the ball 5 times the first half.
That's the other part of it because there was no
That's what I'm saying. It's
balance.
terrible.
What was the balance there?
I
Frank
don't know.
Reich comes from the um, uh, Doug Peterson / Andy Reid school, where they love to throw the football.
Yeah,
I mean, to them, a screenplay is a running play. Screen pass is a running play. A ball out in the flat is a running play to them. They don't run the ball very often, but you got to do some adjustments based on your personnel. I will say Andy Reid starting to use his running backs a little bit. He's always used his running backs some. He had Brian Westbrook, LaShawn McCoy. When he had a good running back, he used them.
right.
And that's what you do. You adapt your scheme to what you have. And I can't see how Jonathan Taylor didn't get more carries than he got. And he broke a couple of them
Yeah,
of big runs. So, I mean, I think you got to run him and run him steady. At least 30 to 40% of your offense. You got to get him at least, to me, 20 carries at minimum.
oh, no doubt. And
Yeah.
I think that they gotta when they get in the red zone, it's terrible play calling. So it's not
Yeah.
just the whole game.
Yeah.
It's just
You almost know by their formation what they're going to do. As
yes.
soon as they line up, you know what they're going to do. There's no deception at all. So I guess what we're saying is it might be coaching. And I like Frank Reich, but I mean, I don't know him personally, but I from what I've seen, he seems to be a cool guy. And supposedly this offensive guru. But I will say, if you think about it, he's been saddled with some bad quarterbacks, or older. I
Right.
mean, the best one was 3-4 quarterbacks ago was Philip Rivers, his last
Mhm.
year or so. He played fairly well for the Colts. He left. They went and got Carson Wentz. They got stuck with Jacoby Brissett for a while. Then you had, first you had Brissett. Then you had Wentz. And he got hurt when Andrew Luck retired before he ever got to play
Right.
for Reich. He never got to play for Reich. And he retired. And can't blame the guy. And I was surprised he stayed out. At first, I thought, oh, he's pissed at the team. No, He had said he was banged up, he was beat up, he was tired of always rehabbing, and that he's not mobile, so he takes some hits too. And I give the guy credit. He made his money.
Yeah.
He got out. He said,
Hey,
you know what?
smart.
You know what? I love the game, but I can love the game at home on TV,
Yeah.
watching it on
No,
TV.
no
I mean,
doubt. No doubt.
give him credit. I mean, he didn't want to get banged up. He sees what happened to people, and that's it. But that hurts Frank Reich because he hasn't had, outside of Rivers having not a bad season in his last one, he had Carson Wentz, who every time you snap the ball to him, you don't know what you're going to get. You're either going to get a perfectly thrown 80-yard bomb for a touchdown, or he's going to do the fumble rooski. He's
Yeah.
going to fumble it away or throw a pick or whatever. You don't know what you're going to get. And that's play to play, not just game to game. I mean, his numbers, if you look analytics wise, weren't bad last year. But, when they had to do it, he couldn't get him in the end zone. He threw a pick. He had a fumble late in the game in a game in Jacksonville, which all they had to do was beat Jacksonville to get in the playoffs.
Yep.
And they couldn't do it. As this year you get from Matt Ryan, who I liked Matt Ryan, but he may be over the hill.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
You can't tell. It could, like you said, we got some time to go, but let's see what happens. But the weird part, Bill, is I haven't seen them draft anybody for the future. It's like I feel like maybe they have a philosophy that quarterback is not necessarily the most important position, and they can plug somebody in there.
I guess.
They've had what, 3-4 years to draft somebody,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they're waiting
But
for the right person to come up in free agency, and it hasn't happened yet.
but again, the last couple years hasn't really been much out there drafting quarterback.
Draft wise, you're probably right,
So
especially where they're at, because they're
now,
always in the middle or toward the end of the
yeah.
draft.
Now next season it should be a good thing. So I mean,
Good
hey, if you
quarterback
want to
draft,
tank,
you think?
start tanking. I guess. I don't know.
Now, we don't want to say tank. You might want to say start the process.
All right, start the
Start the process. So, which is weird because with the Sixers, the process, there's only one guy left from the process. Remember,
Yeah.
they drafted a zillion of Simmons and Nerlens Noel and all these guys, and the rest of them are scattered throughout the league. The only one to end up keeping is Embiid, which I
Embiid,
guess
yeah.
looking, that's probably the best one to have kept, but it's just
Yes.
funny. Let's do the process. Baltimore, Miami, that was a shocker.
Oof.
How Baltimore gave up the lead, how Miami was able to come back.
Yeah.
Tua keeps playing like that. He's going to be an all-pro before he retires.
Yeah. I mean,
We're gonna
Miami
throw
down 21 points.
4 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, 4 touchdown passes. And Kansas City is figuring out a way to score without Tyreek Hill, but boy, what an addition for Miami, huh?
Yeah.
You got to give him credit. I mean,
but like I said, going back to coaching, not offensively, now defensively, you got to throw something out there. I mean, after the first or second touchdown,
right? You got to do
what
something.
are you
I don't care if you throw a prevent or a blitz.
Yeah,
Blitz him.
I mean,
I don't think they blitzed him. If they did, they blitzed him up the middle because a couple of those where he was rolling left. He's a lefty. He's
Yeah.
rolling left and hit the guy. So you throw a blitz and maybe have it contained on that left side.
yeah,
Something, or a blitz from the left side, his left. You got to
mhm.
do, but you're right. You got to do something.
And you
One
knew
of
they were
them, what's
gonna,
his name,
yeah,
Waddle, was wide open for the
yeah,
touchdown.
and you
Wide
knew they
open.
were, and you knew they were throwing the ball. I mean,
Yeah,
down
yeah,
21.
they had to. They
I
were
mean,
down.
mean,
It wasn't like they were going to be handing it off because they were losing. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, that was more. Don't get me wrong. Miami made the plays they had to make,
yeah,
and they had to throw the ball. But like you said, Baltimore had to know that. So yeah, I'd be roasting the defensive coordinator, but of course Harbaugh's the one that's got to take the questions and take the heat.
yeah,
But the DC has got to come under some fire, at least in-house, to say what the
mhm.
freak are you doing? It looks like they don't have the personnel either in the secondary. Looks like
Yeah, I mean,
Baltimore, yeah, they don't have it. But you got to be able to come up with a scheme to at least take that long pass away. Let me see. New England, Pittsburgh. We took Pittsburgh, and New England scored. Pittsburgh's offense doesn't look like it's doing anything. Jets and Cleveland, the Jets, Jets with a comeback as well.
They were
Yup.
down double digits.
They were down double digits, and you had jumping Joe Flacco. One guy was calling him, I think it was Rich Eisen was calling him Broadway Joe Flacco.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, in jest like we would, but
Yeah.
it's like unbelievable. They made Flacco look like the Hall of Famer that he might still be trying to be. He was on fire, especially the second half.
Yeah.
And the passes were on the money, but give the Jets credit for protecting him because he's got no mobility. He needed a pocket to complete some of them passes, but he did, and they were on the money. He could always throw the long ball.
Yeah.
Flacco always throw the
pretty
ball.
accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. So when they got behind, if you think about it, you're playing into Flacco's strength. He gets to throw the bomb. He gets to throw the ball. So you got to do what you got to do there to win it. I just
And
looked
that
over to
onside
see if
kick,
there's any.
I was gonna say that onside kick helped won the
The
game.
onside kick. It wasn't for that, they wouldn't have
Yeah.
won. But yeah, they executed that perfectly too.
But the touchdown before that, before the onside kick, the guy was open by like 30 yards.
I was going to say,
mean,
Flacco hit him, but yeah, how open was it? Holy moly, Davis.
I mean, I could have called it and ran backwards into the
I
end
could have
zone.
caught it, juggled it, or what was the movie where Robin Williams was, doing the juggle thing before
Yeah,
he got in the
rumbling,
end zone
bumbling,
from Kurt Williams?
stumbling.
Yeah, mumbling, bumbling, stumbling. But he was so wide open, he was able to do that if he wanted to, or could have got on his cell phone, called his mom, whoever, whatever, ordered a pizza. Hey, Papa John's, meet me in the end zone. I'll be there in a few seconds. I mean, you're right. But that still goes to Flacco having time to throw the ball.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're right. The guy
agree.
was wide open, and there's no excuse for that either if you're Cleveland. Well, where's your defense there? And Cleveland this week is without Clowney. He's out. He's hurt.
Yes.
There was somebody else too, but the running backs are okay. Hunt, Chubb,
Yeah.
those guys.
Mari Cooper.
Yeah, those guys are okay, I think. But it is a big loss on defense, though, losing Clowney for the pass rush. So that's going to be interesting coming up. Let me see. Anybody else? Detroit beat your team. Beat your Commanders. I'm sorry, Bill. I hate that freaking name. The Commanders. Give me a break.
Oh, you're better than me. I still like to call them the Redskins.
I know. I still like calling them the Redskins. Yeah. But I could see maybe why you had to change the name. In today's day and age.
Well,
the way things are going.
Yeah. Politically
but
correct.
Where they picked the Commanders, I have no idea. That's just the only thing. Go ahead.
I was gonna say what gets me is like Cleveland Indians changed their name, but Atlanta Braves or the Kansas City Chiefs haven't changed theirs. I mean, I don't
see. Here's the thing: Braves is a positive connotation if you're a Native American. Right? It's like a warrior or a brave, or this. And Chiefs are like top dog if you're Native American. So, but to be just quote unquote Indian and Redskin would be a slur because it's what people did call them. But no, ignore this, Bill. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that. I hope you can. So it's one of those things where if I went and looked at the names, I think Guardians is worse than Commanders. I think the Cleveland Guardians is just absolutely terrible. I would, if I was on, I would probably go the Washington football team, formerly known as the Redskins. The Cleveland Guardians, formerly, or the Cleveland baseball team, formerly known as the Indians. I mean, of course, I'd probably been off the air the first time I did it, so it wouldn't matter. I'd have to pick one or the other.
Can you imagine Bob Uecker, the Guardians?
Oh, Uecker. How about that? I mean, one of his best lines was, and it's off the reservation. You can't say that anymore. So, I mean, you couldn't even make Major League probably anymore, at least not without saying the Indians' name.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be. So, yeah, but yeah, your team, again, Carson Wentz this time just didn't do enough.
Yeah.
I don't think anything bad. He just didn't do enough good.
Yeah.
And Detroit is probably a better team.
Detroit
Well,
looking good. Yeah.
hanging in there, hanging in there. They play every game tough, so you got to give them credit. Dan Campbell's got them boys giving it a shot. Let me see. Tampa Bay, New Orleans, the biggest thing to come out of that. We knew Tampa Bay was going to win. Closer game probably than I thought, but is Mike Evans' suspension for coming off the bench and waffling Lattimore. Gets a 1 game. And then you have breaking news because he appealed the suspension, Bill. So give us the breaking news.
Yes, and the NFL has upheld the suspension, so he will be missing this game coming up against Green Bay.
Yeah. So he's out for a game, which is probably one of their biggest games of the year against Green Bay Packers. I believe it is in Tampa, but still.
It's in Tampa, yes.
Yeah, it's still. They signed Cole Beasley to the practice squad. And I'm sure now that Evans is out, he'll be elevated to play this week. Godwin's hurt. He's going to be out. And there was somebody else, another receiver that was hurt. It's probably going to be out. So Beasley may be starting. Look for Brady to go to his tight ends and they're going to probably try to run the ball more or throw some more slants and screens to the backs like Fournette. I think they're going to have to do something else because I don't see receivers getting open.
Yeah.
But to level it off, Green Bay doesn't have receivers either. They just don't have them. It has nothing to do with them being hurt or anything. They just don't have them. Lazard's okay. He returned last week, got a touchdown, I think.
And
forecast is it could be a long, boring game. Which team has the better running game?
Yeah, well, that's what it is. Tampa's good against the run, so the defense.
Yeah, they're good against the run. Green Bay's got 2 great backs.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens. We'll obviously have our picks in a few minutes.
Yes.
Anything else? Of course, San Francisco had the terrible Rams were all over Atlanta. We knew that was going to happen. San Francisco lost Trey Lance to a horrible looking injury. He's obviously gone for the season. Fractured his leg. And when they did the surgery, they also found he tore an ACL. So they did that surgery too at the same time. But he's definitely out for the season. They expect him to be able to return next season. And whether he's ready for preseason or not, we don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. Horrible looking injury. And even if he does come back, remember, he's a mobile quarterback.
Right.
So it's a matter of will he have it. I don't want to say will he lose mobility. I think that kind of injury, you're going to lose some.
Limited.
But, right, how much will he lose? And that's part of what makes him the quarterback that he is. So we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, Jimmy G went in and lit it up.
Yeah.
Credit.
I mean,
he did his thing.
Couldn't ask for a better backup.
He sure couldn't. Boy, was that a great move during the week to re-sign him, huh?
Yes.
And other teams had been looking at him, but nobody pulled the trigger. So the Niners said, yeah, we'll give him a shot 1 more year, see what happens, see if he backs up. And then if he gets in at all, he's got a chance to show his wares. Maybe another team will sign him for next year. And now he's going to get the whole season. So barring him getting hurt, you never know now. So, and he's been hurt a couple times before. So let's see. Last week, Vegas should have beat Arizona. They faltered in the end. They had to lead almost the whole game, and Arizona comes back. I think we both took. Oh no, I took Arizona. Who did I take? Oh, you took Arizona. I think I took.
I think we both took the Raiders.
Oh, we
but
both
took
took the.
I took.
We both took the Raiders, but I did too. I took Arizona to cover, so we both lost on the spread on that. Oh no, we won on the spread.
No, we won on the spread.
Yeah, but we lost straight up on the game.
Yes.
Cincinnati and Dallas. Cooper Rush for Dallas did his job, and the Dallas defense did their job and helped Burrow and the Bengals. But man, unless they decide to get some linemen someday, I think Joe Burrow's chance of getting hurt before the next couple of games are over is soon. I think he's been sacked 13 times already.
And I don't know what happened. They made some before the season some transactions, but the line was supposed to be improved. But oof.
Boy, he's running for his life back there, and he does as good as he can, but man, I don't blame him at all for this. I mean, he's got no time. And they couldn't get Mixon going.
Yeah.
So
Once again, it's like if you don't get the passing game, you're not
Mhm.
going to get the running game. So, I
right,
mean,
and vice versa. It goes both ways. You got to get
yes.
one or the other get going, and then you can start using the other one. But yeah, Dallas deserved it. Good for Cooper Rush backing up Dak Prescott. Maybe he's making a name for himself for somewhere else. Because let's face it, once Dak returns, he's going to play.
Yes.
Once they say Dak is healthy. Now,
He'll be
Jerry
ready.
Jones today was saying he thinks he will be ready to go in 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
But then he said, then he did admit that that was an overly optimistic prediction. Most people are saying now the soonest he could return is, are you ready for this? October 16th against those Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh.
That could be something to see. But we don't know. That's supposedly the soonest they think he could return. But he
Right.
is ahead of schedule rehab-wise. And, there's not much you can do until the thing's out of your finger.
Yeah.
But he's lucky. There was no ligament damage, so it's getting the bone fixed. And once
Yeah.
that heals, he can start going.
And his throwing hand. So, I mean,
Yep.
that's.
Yeah, index finger, your throwing hand, that makes it tough. Denver squeaked by Houston. Houston should have won. We both had, or I had Houston to cover. You didn't. I thought you did, but you did not. But who knew? I thought Houston was gonna. Watching it, I thought Houston should have won.
Right.
They're playing tough. They're almost playing like Detroit did last few years. They're playing tough. They're hanging in with everybody. They need something to get over the hump for a couple games.
And I like these teams that aren't supposed to be good and getting their wins, even though they're against some of them against my teams. But it's
I
just
know.
it's good.
But
to
it makes
see.
it interesting. It makes it like every game is interesting. You expect it to be a blowout, and it's not. That's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for the league, and it's a good thing to keep interest up. Green Bay was all over Chicago. That wasn't even.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't even close. One of it was it you or me that picked Chicago to beat the spread? I think it was you,
I
but
took the Bears plus 10.
Yeah, sorry.
Me too.
Who knew? I made a last minute. Yep. Yeah. Who knew? They're just, as they say, they're not good.
Good.
Without an entire rainstorm hitting your field, they don't have a chance. Buffalo and Tennessee. Thank God I changed my spread pick to Buffalo when I called or texted you and said, "Hey, Bill, I just got a hunch Buffalo's going to blow them out." And did they ever?
They're tough.
Tennessee's dropping off the face of the earth. They used to be strong defensively, and Derrick Henry can't get started because I think maybe he might be run down. Running backs have a lifespan, and I think he might be toward the end of that 3 or 4 years.
I think they're putting 8 guys in the box, and
that's true. That's the other part. You
they
might
have
be
no
right
passing.
about that.
They don't have much of a passing game, so
No, and I
but
think
it could be a combination of both, slowing down. But
getting rid of AJ Brown doesn't help them.
Right.
It takes that receiving threat away. They didn't really replace him, so Tennessee's going to struggle. I think. Games you can get Derrick Henry going, they'll be okay. But if they can't, it's not gonna be pretty.
Yeah.
It could be more games like last night or last week, Monday night. And last but not least, Philadelphia, Minnesota. We both, and it's weird. I usually stick with the Eagles through thick or thin, but I said to myself, I'll tell you, Minnesota doesn't look bad. They handled Green Bay, who's really good. I just think, bump up. Nope, way off. Jalen Hurts looks like a Hall of Famer. In all honesty, if he keeps playing like that, Philly's going to be tough. I was surprised. He played really well. And he's got a lot of weapons.
No doubt about that.
But the key to me, besides them, because they didn't score as many points in the second half, was the defense. Their defense was on it. I can't remember how many picks Kirk Cousins threw
I think he,
either 3 or 4. I know 2 to
I think
Slay by
3.
himself.
And
Might have
then,
been and 1 to
yeah,
Maddox. That's
and then he
3 right
fumbled the
there.
ball. I think
Oh, you're
Cousins, he
right.
leads the league,
In turnovers?
in the last 7 years, I think, in fumbles.
Really?
Like 70 some fumbles.
Bill with a stat of the day. Stat of the day brought to you by DraftKings. The DraftKings, where go online, you can bet $5 to win $250. Win $100,000 in their second chance NFL service pool, survivor pool. It's a survivor pool, Bill, they have for DraftKings. You can win $100K in the second chance NFL survivor pool just by going on DraftKings.com. And a stat of the day also brought to you by, are you ready, Bill? Violent Realty Corporation. Dennis and Graldi over at Violent Realty. Any of your realty needs in South Jersey, call 856-690-9482 or pop into their office at 634 East Landis Avenue. Whether you're buying, selling, renting, want to rent something, whether it's business or residential, go see Dennis and the crew over at Violent Realty Corporation or give them a call again at 856-690-9482 or pop in the office and see Helen, his girl, Friday, and the rest of the crew at 634 East Landis Avenue in Vineland, New Jersey. Billy with our stat of the day. Very nicely done, Bill.
Thank you,
That
sir.
handles the semi-quick recap. And now it's time for Bill and I to go on record with this coming week and see if we can get over the hump, because it is hump day here, Bill.
Yes,
It's
it is.
Wednesday as we're filming this today. It is hump day. So let's see if we can get over the hump. Game number 1, Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Cleveland is favored by 4.5.
That's a toughie. I mean, it's a division game, so I know what I'm going to take I think Cleveland and the dog pound is going to win the game, but I will take Pittsburgh in the spread.
Okay, so Billy, Pittsburgh on the spread and Cleveland for the game.
Yes.
I took Cleveland for the game. I didn't put down the spread yet because, like I said, I got them just before airtime, as they say in the business, whatever business that is. I took Cleveland to win the game, but I've been tossing and turning with it the whole time. I think I'm going to stick with Cleveland. 4.5. I think I'm going to go with you, though, and take Pittsburgh to cover. I think it could be a field goal.
Yeah, I think it's a field goal game. Yeah.
Yep. Especially in that division. Hate to do this to you, buddy, but it's KC versus Indy. It is in Indy. It is in the Dome.
Well,
But go ahead.
Until my Colts prove something, I will take the Chiefs and give the points.
So yeah, we're both doing that, I think. Yeah, we are. The points are 6.5. But I think you're right. I think that's too much to overcome for Indy. Baltimore and New England. This is interesting. It's in Baltimore. Oh no, it's in New England. I apologize. Baltimore's picked by 3.5.
New England still hasn't improved anything. They look pretty blah, so I will. And the Ravens, after losing last week, I think they're going to come out and pop New England. So we'll take New England. I mean, we'll take Baltimore and give the points.
All right, I did the same already, because it's 3.5 as well. I don't think New England's defense can stay with Lamar and Hollywood Brown all day. Now Dobbins is still out. Oh, I don't know if he's going to be out. He might play this week. That's right. So he's still iffy. I don't think they've made the determination yet. That'd be big too if Dobbins plays and runs the ball.
Oh, that could only actually only
right. Yep.
improve the passing game with Bateman and Duvernay.
Yeah. Here's a test. Let's find out if the Jets Jets are for real as they play Cincinnati in the Meadowlands, and the spread is 5 points for the Bengals.
And The answer to that question is no.
Are they for real?
Um,
They might be real as far as they
yeah, I
really wear
mean,
the uniforms, okay?
I give them credit, but I think this is more on Cincinnati needs to gain more. So that's
That's, you know what, that's actually true.
that's the
Cincinnati
reason.
does need to gain more. They don't want to fall too far behind there. The only good part is nobody's really tearing up that division.
Nah.
So if they win, they could end up either tied or be in first place at the end
Hmm.
of the day, though it might be their first win. I don't know. We'll see. Um, New Orleans and Carolina.
Who'd you take? You took
I
Cincinnati.
I took Cincinnati all the way through. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. All right.
Same thing.
Yep. Yep.
I took them to cover and I took them to win.
Right.
New Orleans, Carolina. It's 2.5 in Carolina.
So
I don't
this one, there's like a hand. There was like 3 games I was just tossing and turning on, and
really.
yeah, I mean, I think New Orleans is a better team, but just Carolina being at home, um,
Baker's got to prove something pretty soon. And I mean,
yeah.
there'd be people clamoring if Darnold was healthy.
But I do like the Saints defense a little bit better. So I'm going to switch it. I had it marked down Carolina, but I'm going to take the Saints.
All right. How about against the spread? It is
And
2.5.
2.5. Yeah, 2.5. And
Yeah.
I'll give it 2.5.
Okay. Chicago and Houston. Here's a barn burner. And remember, Lovie Smith took the Bears to the Super Bowl years and years ago. So it's Lovie's return to the Windy City.
Windy City. And Soldier Field.
Yes.
This was one of the other ones. If
2.5 for Chicago.
As bad as Chicago is, they're really bad, the Bears, but they're home. But they're home, and I don't want to be. I think some of these home games, they're going to win the game. So, I'm gonna
It's a
take the
tough one.
Bear. I'm gonna take the Bears.
Bill's taking a tough one. He's taking the Bears. All right. It's a 2.5 point spread for the Bears. You think the Bears will cover?
Yeah, they'll cover
Okay.
by a field goal.
By a field goal.
Field goal at the end of the game is going to win that.
I took Houston, and I took
think
them both ways. I
okay.
think, because of course, if they win, they'll obviously cover. So
Yeah.
I took Houston. I think they will figure out a way to score more points than Chicago. I'm not sold on Justin Fields. Montgomery's running the ball okay, but I'm not sold on Fields as a quarterback, as a passer. Okay, as a
Yeah.
runner, but I'm not sold on him as a passer. And Houston's got a tough defense. It's their defense that's kept them in games.
Yeah.
So with a mediocre offense at best and facing a good defense, I think Houston's got enough offense, if that all makes sense, to win the game. I really do.
Yeah. I'm just taking the home team. That's the
and at
that's
2.5,
one.
yeah, home team they always say is worth 3 points. So, but I'm going to take Houston just a hunch. Plus, it gives us something to beef about a little bit. Buffalo, Miami. It is a 6 point spread in Miami.
You know what? I think Buffalo is the best team in the NFL. There's no doubt about that.
I mean,
but they struggle in Miami.
That's true. It's a division game. They struggle in Miami. They're coming off a Monday night, so they got a shorter week.
Definitely taking Buffalo to win the game, but I think I will take the Fins with the 6.
Really?
I'm probably going to regret it, but
I think you will. That's just my take on it. I think Buffalo's defense is the key here. Because let's face it, Miami still gave up a lot of points to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Buffalo is playing pretty well on defense too. So I'm gonna say that the edge really goes to Buffalo's D over Miami's D.
Yeah.
So I'm taking Buffalo to cover and to win the game, obviously.
We'll just see if the 90-degree weather will put it down.
Yeah, there's a couple factors. And one is the warm weather, which could, and the extra day of rest Miami gets. Those are two factors that could help.
Just being analytical. I
Yeah,
just
no,
think,
I agree. I agree with you. I agree that those are definitely factors. And that's how we do it. I do it by this and you do it by the numbers. Um, and you're right, Buffalo struggles when they go to Miami every time. I just think, plus I think the hype for Miami might be a little too much.
Yeah.
I think you might see Tua and them come back down to earth a little bit. Though,
Yeah.
when you have Tyreek Hill, and now let's face it, Waddle, you have dual threats. Anything can happen. If they keep it close, you could hit Tyreek on a bomb and it's over.
Yeah.
Like the old Philly days with Deshaun Jackson, or even Kansas City when they had Hill, or the Giants when Beckham played there. Those old days, Irvin and Dallas.
Yep.
Sorry, I couldn't.
Uh,
I had to admit it though. There's been receivers that could change a game and get open. So, and Tyreek Hill's one of them. But I think they'll come up with something. They'll come up with a double coverage scheme or something. Try to limit him. A lot of teams have tried things though, and you can't stop the guy.
Right.
So I think you try and you say, well, we'll stop him best we can. Try to slow him down a little bit, and then do what we do on offense. And I can't see Miami stopping Buffalo.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
can't.
No,
But you're
I
right.
don't
You never
either.
know. You never know. But I think Josh Allen's a beast, and I agree. And we both know that I agree because I already picked Buffalo to win the Super Bowl. Though I kind of hope I'm wrong, because I hope the Chiefs, and yeah, you never even know, maybe Philly could get in there. But when I look at it objectively, I still think it's Buffalo in the AFC, and I think they'll win the whole thing. I really do. You're
Yeah,
right. I think they're right now, especially without any injuries, they're the best team in the NFL.
Yep.
Let's see. Vegas and Tennessee. Vegas is picked by 2.
Here's another one. Both teams aren't performing up to par, but I think I just like the little more talent on the Raiders side, so I will take the Raiders and give the points.
Okay. I did the same thing already. Yeah. Chargers in Jacksonville. That's Sunday late afternoon game. It is 7-point spread for the Chargers in LA.
As good as Jacksonville's been playing, I just think Chargers have just too much firepower, with or without Herbert, which most likely will be with Herbert. So I'll take the Chargers and give the 7.
Okay, I'm going to take the Chargers for the win, but I think Jacksonville might cover. 2 reasons. One, we don't know how mobile or even 100% sure Herbert's going to play. And Jacksonville's defense hasn't been playing bad. So I think Jacksonville might cover 7.
Okay.
If it was 3, probably not. But I think they might cover 7. But so I'm going to give, take a shot here, give the benefit of the doubt for a couple games, and that's one of them. This one's tough for me. The next one, Tampa Bay and Green Bay. Very, very tough, because Mike Evans is out, as we already talked about. Godwin's out hurt. All right, so he's not going to be in there. And they've got another receiver out too. So they've got some problems. I mean, they picked up Cole Beasley, signed him to the taxi squad or practice squad, whatever you call it these days.
Yeah.
Practice squad. And I think he'll be elevated before game time. He's probably on the practice squad.
And I,
squeaking.
and I like Beasley. He can still
I do
play.
too. He's a slot guy, though. He's not that threat that Evans is,
So, yeah,
but
but
he's a
he,
slot guy.
yeah,
So does Brady get enough time with him to get familiar with him? Now, Brady's always got a good history with slot receivers. Amendola was in the slot sometimes. Edelman was a slot guy, and he did very well with those guys. So,
yeah,
and he does great with tight ends. And they still have Brate, who's a really good tight end.
right.
And you can hit Fournette out of the backfield.
Yeah. What's the spread on that? 1.5?
I think it is, yes, Tampa Bay by 1.5 in Tampa. Green Bay doesn't have, they just don't have receivers.
Yeah.
It's not that they're hurt. It's they don't have them. Randall Cobb is on the downward side of, he's almost at the bottom of the hill. Alan Lazard is okay. He's the best they have. He's okay, but he's not great. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, he's all right. The rest of that receiving tight end crew is going to take time for Aaron Rodgers to make them look good.
Mhm.
I don't think they're there yet. You do have Aaron Jones out of the backfield, and you got
Dylan running the ball.
Dylan, right? Dylan out of the backfield. Both of them can run the ball.
Yeah.
They can both catch screens. You may see some of that, but Tampa's going to look for that, and they've got a good D.
Yeah, I'm going to take Tampa. And
So I'm taking Tampa all the way across the board. Though I'd like to see Green Bay give them a game and play it, but it's only 1.5. I think it could be a field goal. If it is close, Tampa will win by a field goal. If it's a runaway, it's going to be all Tampa, as far as I'm concerned. It's going to be because of the defense. I think the defense is going to play well. Rams in Arizona. It is surprisingly to me, the spread is 3.5. Rams.
Yeah, Arizona just still missing a couple of pieces on offense. Connor's out, the running back.
Is Connor's out now?
I'm pretty sure. I
I
mean,
know
he's
he played last
questionable,
week and got a
yeah,
touchdown.
I mean, he is questionable, I think.
Is he?
And they just don't have the receiver, so I'm going to take the Rams and give the points.
I did the same thing. I didn't take it for any other reason except I think the Rams are just that much better.
Yeah.
Arizona just doesn't look like the old Arizona to me. I mean, to me, they were lucky they pulled out the win last week against the Raiders. I think the Raiders should have won that game. And let's face it, they had plenty of chances to win it on defense even.
Right.
And they just didn't do it. So, yeah, I'm going against Arizona on this one. Here's a tough game, I think, but it's one that you go, oh, my God, really? Seattle and Atlanta. It could be a tough game or not. Yeah, it could be. That's an easy thing to say, but Seattle and Atlanta. In Seattle, the spread is 2 for the home team.
This was another coin flip for me.
Yeah, it's a tough one to look at.
And but I like the 12th man in Seattle, so we'll go with Seattle.
I do too, and in fact, Seattle does have 2 pretty good receivers. So I think they have a couple more weapons than Atlanta has. So I did the same thing. I took them across the board. You want them for the spread too?
Yes.
Okay. Thought so. Let me see. Before we get to the Sunday and Monday night games, there's still a couple earlier ones. One is Philadelphia and Washington. Sorry, buddy, your Commanders have to play the Eagles. Now, it's interesting because it's Carson Wentz's return to Philadelphia. First time, I think, since
it's in Washington.
Oh, that's right. I apologize. First time he's played Philadelphia.
But
you're right. But that should happen unless there's an injury or something.
This one's going to come back and bite me in the ass. Only because, well, I'm going to take the Eagles. But I don't like taking a team that won Monday night and come back the following week.
Yeah, I know what you mean there.
That's what's
scaring you a little bit.
Yeah. So
well,
with
Well,
with
then
that
we'll
s- with that said,
bu-
with that said, I'll take the Eagles to win the game, but I will take Washington to cover.
Okay. And that actually makes sense to me, but I am gonna stick with the Eagles both ways this time. I think they're gonna figure out a way to have Carson turn the ball over a couple of times and it'll make the difference. But you never know. He has a chip on his shoulder. He may come out and do very well. So I can see your point. And you know what? Those games when you start to take the Eastern Division of the NFC for granted, somebody will lose a game they shouldn't
Yeah.
lose. The Giants will beat somebody, the Commanders will beat somebody. They'll beat Dallas or Philly or somebody like that, and you're like, oh my God, really? But I'm gonna take the Eagles all the way, which is what I should have done last week. You know, I always try to say, don't let your heart get in the way. Last week I should have, because they handled Minnesota rather well.
Mhm.
So yeah, they're done. They're toast. I think they're going to win and beat the spread. The spread's 6.5, by the way.
Yeah, 6.5. That's
It's a big spread, but I'm still going to take them to beat the spread. That's probably where I should. No, I'm gonna stick with my original thought. I'm trying not to change as many thought. The original viewpoint is what I got to stick with. Denver, San Francisco. It's 1.5. It is in Denver. San Francisco's picked by 1.5.
Yeah, this is another one. Even though Denver's not playing up to par, San Francisco running game isn't all that. Russell Wilson knows the 49ers defense and vice versa.
Mhm.
But I'm going to take the upset, and I'm going to take the Broncos at home.
Ooh, Bill going for the upset, which of course means you're thinking they're going to cover too.
Yes.
That just goes without saying. But yeah, I on the other hand are taking just exactly the opposite. So we could have some fun this week, as I'm taking the Niners to win and to beat the spread, which is only 1.5, like we said. Let's see. I think Jimmy G is going to make a difference in the offense for the upswing, for the better. And I'm not saying that as a knock on Trey Lance. I'm saying that as a different style of
Right.
quarterback, and the experience he's already got with the team. So I think he's going to take care of business. Let's see. 2 games left. 1, Detroit and Minnesota in Minnesota. It is a 6-point spread for Minnesota, according to DraftKings.
Yeah, I
Win
like
your
Minnesota. Yeah,
Thursday night money line bet. If your team is up 7+ points at any time during the game, you could win. So if you opt in on DraftKings,
there you go.
there you go.
That's a win-win.
Win. So Minnesota picked by 6.
I'd like Minnesota to rebound and win the game. As far as the 6 points, Detroit's been looking good, so I'll take the 6. Minnesota to win and Detroit to cover.
I am doing the same thing. If this was in Detroit, I would actually think of taking Detroit to win the game. But since it is in Minnesota and they need to win, especially in front of their fans,
Mm-hmm.
I am going to take Minnesota to win the game. But I'm going to take Detroit to cover.
Yep.
I think they might cover. I think Minnesota might have to win it especially since it's 6. They might have to win it with a field goal in the end or something like that, or hold the ball with a 3-point lead or something. But I'm gonna take Detroit to cover, Minnesota to win.
Yep.
And the last game, Monday Night Football, Dallas and the Giants. It is in Jimmy Hoffa's resting place, the Meadowlands. Had to get a non-football joke in there. Actually, it's not his place because this is the new Meadowlands or whatever they call it, MetLife
Yeah.
Stadium or something. He was actually supposedly in the old resting place, the old Meadowlands. But it is Dallas versus the Giants. The spread is the Giants by 1.
Oh, one that went down, huh?
I guess it did. I can double check it because I do have.
I had 2.5.
I
at
know,
one
surprising,
earlier.
but I do have the DraftKings screen up here.
Yep, I got it right here. It is 1. Yep.
It is 1, right? Yep.
Yeah.
So since it is still 1, I think I'm going to take Dallas both ways. I think they're going to cover. I think their defense, I think Micah Parsons is going to be all over the place, and I think he's going to be in Daniel Jones's face all day long. The only shot the Giants have is if Saquon Barkley can run the ball a lot and well, if they open up holes for him. If he doesn't touch the ball 20 times, maybe 25, and I'm talking pass or run, he doesn't have to run it every time. Could be a screen, could be in the flat, whatever. If they don't get the ball to him at a minimum of 20 times, I don't think they have a shot. I really don't.
Yeah.
And it's not that Daniel Jones is bad, but I also don't think he's great. And I think Dallas's defense is going to put a lot of pressure on him. I think Micah Parsons is going to be,
Yeah. I think defense is
attached
going
to
to
his number.
Yeah. I think defense is going to be the difference in the game, and I agree with you. I'll take the Cowboys.
Okay, so we're both taking Dallas all the way, as they say. So there we go. That is our last pick. Let me see if I can find something here to denote our differences. Cleveland, Pittsburgh, we were the same. Kansas City, Indy were the same. Baltimore and New England were the same. Cincinnati Jets were the same. New Orleans, Carolina were the same. We got a difference with Chicago and Houston. I took Houston to cover. Oh no, we're the same. We both took Houston to cover. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I took Chicago to win the game.
Right, we both took Chicago to win the game. We both. Oh no,
I
you
thought
know what?
you took Houston to
No,
win.
I took Houston to win. I apologize. So we are different on that one.
So we're
both ways.
on
So
that
that's
one.
a different game. I'll mark that right there. Let's see. I took Miami you took Miami to cover
Yes.
against Buffalo. I did not. So I'll just mark any game where there's a difference. We both took Vegas over Tennessee straight through. I took Jacksonville to cover against the Chargers.
Right.
Though we both took the Chargers to win, and you took Chargers to cover. We both took Tampa Bay over Green Bay all the way through. Rams, Arizona all the way through. Seattle against Arizona all the way through. You took Denver to cover. Oh, you took Denver to win and cover. That was your upset pick.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's kind of your upset pick for the week.
Yeah, we have two differences.
Yeah, you took Denver. I took San Francisco. We both took Dallas. We both took Philly. Oh, you took Washington to cover.
Yes.
So there's another difference.
Yeah, we got some differences in the coverage.
In the spread games.
But the games even up.
The games even up. We only had 2. Yeah. I took Detroit to cover, but Minnesota to win, and you took Minnesota for both. So there we go. So we do have overall, counting them all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 differences for our spread, 2 are straight up differences.
Right.
Which really means 6 with the spread, if you think about it.
Yes.
So that'll make it interesting this week, my friend.
Yeah.
So there you have it. We'll see how this plays out. Have a great week, folks. Tomorrow night, the first game, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, interdivision. Oh, we were different. Right?
We both took
Cleveland. No, we both took Cleveland to win, and we both took Pittsburgh to beat the spread. You're right.
Yes.
Okay. In Cleveland, NFC North game, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, the old AFC black and blue division game. Could be interesting, could be physical, could be fun. In the immortal words of that great philosopher, Terrell Owens, get out your popcorn. Tomorrow night starts NFL Week 3, folks. Enjoy it. I know we're going to try to. For my pal Billy Smith, for DraftKings for supplying us with the odds, and for Dennis and Graldi of Vineland Realty, we're going to say thank you very much for tuning in. We will talk to you soon. This is From the Cheap Seats with Billy Smith and John
Yeah.
Harris.
Have a good week, guys.
See you, Bill.